Hi everyone, welcome back to the Kiive Audio YouTube channel. My name is Luke Diamond. I'm an audio engineer and producer, and today we're going to be talking about recording vocals. I have spent a ton of time recording artists of all calibers, and if there's one thing that I've noticed that kind of is the same across the board, is that you typically get a better performance if you instill confidence in the performer or the artist. And obviously, I'm not just talking about complimenting them, although I'm sure that helps too. In my experience, having a good, clean vocal feeding back to the artist or through the monitors while you're tracking is really, really good because it allows the artist to feel more comfortable and make better decisions as far as the performance goes. And then if you are the producer or if there's a producer sitting in the room, it allows you to do the same. And like I said before, this may just be a psychological thing, but if the artist likes how they sound and if they sound polished, I think that they will give you a better performance. Typically in a commercial studio setting or in a home studio setting that's more on the high-end scale of things, you'll have outboard gear that will kind of help you achieve that level of polish that is feeding back to the artist that instills the confidence in them. The same goes with the producer. But because I just want to make a video and show you that I can do it in the box and we can do it with very few plugins from Kiive, I will not be using any of my outboard gear with the exception of using the pre's. So yes, we're staying in the box today and I'm very confident that we're going to get good results. So first, I'm going to track a vocal completely dry through my Lewitt Pure Tube mic. It's going to go into the Focusrite pre with no outboard processing, and I think this is a good entry to mid-level mic pre for a studio and a home studio setting. And also, my singing isn't perfect. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so I'm going to be using some tuning. Sue me.
I've got more secrets than I'd like to admit. I've got some demons living up in my head. I'm chained down, begging to be freed. And when I get out, hope you're waiting for me.
All right, so we've recorded the vocal, and as you can probably hear, the recording is very dull and dry sounding. So let's see what we can do to clean it up and make it sound a bit more forward and confident. I know I keep using that word, but it's just the best way for me to describe it personally. So because I can't track myself in and explain what I'm doing processing-wise at the same time as I typically would with an artist in the studio, what we'll do is we'll actually put the processing on the vocal I just recorded, and then just to make sure we're not introducing latency into the equation, I will be tracking through that chain afterwards. All right, so the first thing we're going to do for this vocal is actually use filk channel. Now you can see the parameters are kind of already adjusted here, so I'm just going to kind of go through what I've changed or what I've done. First things first, I did add a little bit of saturation. It is a tube mic, the Pure Tube that I'm using. It's a great mic. Going into something like a Focusrite pre, it's very transparent, I guess you could say. And if you want that extra flavor, that extra style of vocal, you probably need to add a little bit of processing on the saturation front. So I added a little bit of the saturation, literally barely any, with this pre here, the filk pre. And next, I did add a little bit of a boost, about 2 dB almost, at like 130-ish, which just gives a little bit more body. And then because I'm not using my 73 style pre, which I use for basically almost every vocal I do, that has like an integrated high pass filter, right? Because I'm not using that, I did use the Filk EQ1 to roll off everything below 82, just to clean it up a little bit. And lastly, we're moving on to the Filk compressor, or the Filk Comp 1, and I'm gonna just adjust the amount of compression while we're actually listening to the performance, just to make sure I don't overdo it or underdo it.
I've got more secrets than I'd like to admit. I've got some demons living up in my head.
So we've evened it out a little bit with some compression, adding some of that body back, added some saturation. Let's move on. All right, now moving on, we're gonna do a second stage of compression. Now this one is gonna add a lot of like tonality and warmth to it because this is the KC1. It's a tube opto compressor. This is like probably the most sought after style of vocal compressor in the world. Reason being is it's super versatile. You can do so much with it. And then not only that, you can't mess this up. Like this compressor sounds good no matter what you do and whatever you put it on too. It's just a very, very musical compressor. So I'm just gonna go for some good tone here. I'm not gonna really watch the needle because like I said, it doesn't matter. Listen with your ears. Okay, let's do it.
I've got more secrets than I'd like to admit. I've got some demons living up in my head. I'm chained down, begging to be freed. And when I get out, hope you're waiting for me.
All right, so really all I did was adjust the threshold till I got about 5 to 7 dB of gain reduction. That was the sweet spot for me. 4-to-1 ratio, did some makeup gain just to get some of that gain back. And then left the attack on kind of fast. This is the worst. I'm so bad at explaining this part. Attack's kind of fast. Released is sort of kind of fast. As you can see, just, what is that, like 11 o'clock? And I like the sidechain filter that Kiive has in a lot of their plugins. Specifically with this compressor, it's great because this brings out a lot of warmth and like body to the vocal. And this allows you to kind of say like, hey, compressor, like don't compress anything below here. And to me, with a vocal, like in most cases, below 100, I don't really want to compress. All right, so the last plugin I'm going to put on the vocal is going to be the S Quick Strip. This plugin is amazing because you can take a sound anywhere with this. You have saturation, you have compression, you have transient design, you just have so much. It's amazing. So I say that, and then I did some subtle things here. I did do a high pass filter. I think I just have this EQ on, because it turns on the high pass filter in the upper section. I did some light compression, and I'll kind of adjust that as we listen to the vocal too. I really like how this transient shaper sounds. I typically never use transient stuff on singing vocals. I love it on rap vocals, but for some reason, this one just sounds so different than anything I've ever used, and I love it. We do have a comp sidechain, 129 hertz. I explained that already on the other plugin. And then we have input and output compensation here. Really all I wanted to achieve here was some finishing compression, some transient design, and then also just the high pass. So let's listen, and I'll make sure that the threshold is where I want it to be.
I've got more secrets than I'd like to admit. I've got some demons living up in my head. I'm chained down, begging to be freed. And when I get out, hope you're waiting for me.
So that is the last bit of processing I'm going to do right on the vocal. Next, we're going to actually add some reverb. And for that, we're going to be using the Audioscape and Kiive Audio collaboration, the XL305R. And now, full disclosure here, I am never a preset person, okay? There are so many good presets in here, it's unreal. And now if you decide to try the trial for this plugin, free trial by the way, or buy it for yourself, I really encourage you to actually go through all these presets here. There are so many good ones from so many talented people. And one thing that helps me a lot when there's a lot of knobs with a new plugin is to go through the presets and actually see what's changing and what it's actually doing to the sound of it. So I went with the Joe C Vocal Long preset. And then we're just going to adjust the send to taste. So let's go.
I've got more secrets than I'd like to admit. I've got some demons living up in my head.
Before this plugin, I don't think I ever thought to use a spring style reverb on a vocal, like literally ever. Like it was my go-to for guitar and other instruments. But I had never used it on vocals until recently. I love this plugin. I absolutely love this plugin. I encourage you to try it. It's amazing. So I want you to imagine that you're the artist and you're recording this vocal. What would you rather hear? This?
I've got more secrets than I'd like to admit.
Or this?
I've got some demons living up in my head. I'm chained down, begging to be freed. And when I get out, hope you're waiting for me.
And because this is about recording vocals, I do want to show that we're not introducing any latency here. These plugins are very, very conservative as far as it goes with CPU processing. My buffer size is on 128. That's basically what I leave it on at all times. But yeah, let's track a vocal again. If I forget how the melody went, mind your business, okay? So I'm just going to playlist that. We'll record it on the same track. All right, here we go.
I've got more secrets than I'd like to admit. I've got some demons living up in my head. I'm chained down, begging to be freed. And when I get out, hope you're waiting for me.
Love it. So yeah, how you process your vocals is going to be totally dependent on the song, the vocalist, and of course any other factors that can be introduced. But I know I can basically apply these principles with any vocalist, and typically the vocalist is going to be very happy with the results. You can try all of these plugins for yourself at kiiveaudio.com. I appreciate you guys sticking around for the video, and yeah, hope to see you soon. And oh yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye now.